Oh, it's me.
Hello.
Hello, everyone out there. As you can tell right off the bat, I am not used to being the host of our very awesome daily roundup news show that we bring you 5 days of the week. Joining me is the lovely Alexa Lavoie. And if you're new to what we do at the Daily Roundup, it's basically we go through the latest current events. We have some really interesting ones to talk about today. And we also give you, the viewers, an opportunity to become a part of this show. And the very simple, easy way to do so is if you join us on some of the social media platforms that are not censoring us, basically. So they are pro speech, and in that way, they're also pro freedom of press. If you go to Rumble or Odyssey, there is an option there for you to be able to do sort of a live chat option. I think they're called Rumble Rants. There's a little image down below. And if you do a donation of $5 US or more, you can chime in, let us know your thoughts about what we're talking about, or if you think we're missing something, and we make an effort to read that during this show. And of course, your donation also goes to help keep the lights on here at Rebel News. Normally, the host of the Daily Roundup is the lovely David the Menzoid Menzies, who I'm told is on a very special mission. So I'm sure we'll appreciate the fruits of that. But Alexa, how are you doing today?
I'm really good. For once, it's sunny outside. We didn't
Oh.
see that for a while because in Quebec, it's just like raining, 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 and really cold. So when they mentioned that the planet is boiling, I'm sorry, Quebec is not included in this. And I'm actually wondering if we don't have like an eco climate, like special for this little part of Canada.
I feel like Quebec is always doing its own thing, right? Actually, I just learned, I didn't even know that Quebec had a lower drinking age. You can start going to clubs and stuff at 18 there. That is totally news to me.
Yeah.
I totally thought it was 19 across Canada.
No, it's actually 18, and it's why we always have like a bunch of Ontarians that's coming every time for the summer break or during the winter. They come here and they get completely smashed because they know they are not allowed in Ontario. So yeah, here it's so funny because when we look at Gatineau, by example, that is next to Ottawa, you just need to cross the bridge and you can drink. So what is the point to have like a different like age limit since you can
Yeah.
just like walk and just drink in the other side of the bridge?
Well, no surprise, my 18-year-old is the one who let me know about this, but so far she has no trips planned to Quebec. Maybe she's working on that. So, and one quick thing, usually David always lets everybody know what day it is, what the national day is. So I did channel my inner David. Today
Ooh.
is a very sweet day. It's National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. So I'm a fan. That's a good day. It's going to be a good show.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God. So now I have no choice. I need to eat
Yeah.
a sandwich ice cream today. So, everybody, if you have a sandwich ice cream in your fridge, you should now go over, take it, and eat it.
Eat it. Yeah, for sure. I got to grab some. Okay. I'm interested in this. Our first topic, I believe the thumbnail shows it. Surprise, surprise. It's related to our fearless, brave, and stunning leader, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And it looks like there is a separation between him and Sophie. Are you shocked to find that out?
But I don't know. But when I look like he shoveled all the cabinet, but he shoveled his house too.
So yeah, it looks like we have an official statement here was put up. First, there were rumors circulating. Now, I want to say there's been rumors for a long time. I don't think this is at all
Mhm.
shocking. This is almost another one of those conspiracy theories that just come true months later, because I know in sort of the freedom crowd, everybody's saying these two have been playing house for a long time. But now it's official. There actually is a statement. I believe we can put it on the screen from Prime Minister Trudeau. Um, And he says, "Hi, everyone. Sophie and I would like to share the fact that after many meaningful and difficult conversations, we have made the decision to separate. As always, we remain a close family with deep love and respect for each other and everything we have built and will continue to build." And of course, they ask for privacy during this time for their kids. But what bad timing is this to go through a separation, which could probably lead to a divorce. You have to become legally separated before you can divorce. But to do that just before it's clear he's getting ready for the campaign trail for the next election.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that will, when you see that, okay, he's going through a separation, is going through a shuffle of his cabinet. It's just showing to the whole world that he is unstable right now, not only on his private life, but his cabinet is unstable also. So that doesn't show really well for Canadians to really trust him to be able to be the leader for the next 4 years to come. Is actually showing that right now is not the best time for him, that he should not be reelected at all.
Well, it certainly isn't easy to run a country, I imagine, when you're having troubles running the family. But I think a lot of people are jumping to this conclusion. I think it bears the question. In the last couple of days, we've seen a big whopping bruise on the center of the Prime Minister's forehead. Can we show a picture of that, of a video of that? I think I shared it and I said Canadians deserve answers. Some people are speculating maybe that was the beginning of the final separation, a high heel to the forehead. Who knows? I'm sure we can come up with a picture of that. But let us know in the comments of what you think about this new develop in the Trudeau family home. I think Sophie is free, if in some ways, but I'm sure it's hard for the kids. So I'll refrain.
But it's so funny because he wear a Band-Aid, but I think the Band-Aid make it worse. It at the beginning I was like, oh, is it a bruise? Oh no, it's a Band-Aid. But what the Band-Aid is actually hiding? Like, is it like...
Oh, I didn't even know it was a Band-Aid. So that big, round, weird looking thing was a Band-Aid. Did they put makeup over it or something? Maybe they tried to hide it with makeup. Because that was just so bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, don't put a Band-Aid on over something because it make it worse.
Yeah, if it's a zit, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to think it's Sophie's heel, especially considering the official announcement that was just given. My goodness. What do we have next here? Oh, I always get so all over the place with the list. Okay, we are jumping. I think it's very fitting for both you and I to have to tap into some of the hijacked LGBTQ plus insanity that's been going on. Now, this is a story that sort of interlinks some of the stories that I've been doing on. We'll pull it up on the screen here from Press Progress, and it says, Canada's unions are organizing to defend workers from far-right anti-2S LGBTQ, you know where I'm going, hate groups. Okay, so right there, it's fully loaded. I mean, if you're just reading this article and you're not really following what's actually happening at these protests, what people are actually protesting at drag queen story times or the sexually explicit books, and you read something like that, you think, oh my gosh, it's so bad that unions have to be involved. But lately I've been tackling reports where these unions are full of crap, to be honest. But let's continue with the article. It says the Canadian Labour Congress has launched an emergency task force to address escalating anti-LGBTQ plus hate as unions across Canada begin mobilizing to defend queer and trans people in workplaces and beyond. Unionized workplaces such as libraries and schools have become battlegrounds in far-right attacks against queer and trans people across the country. Again, the average person reading this is going to take this at face value. They mention unionized workplaces. Those are also publicly funded workplaces. If you are using public funds for things that many in the public find to be not just inappropriate, but an attack against children's innocence, they may be protesting. And the attacks, as you know, in my opinion, every single one I've covered, anybody opposing these so-called events has been very peaceful. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, you're right. Everybody who did go against these like insane ideology of always being peaceful, they always use word for expressing their disagreement of sexualization and indoctrination of these children. The thing is, when you look at the title, you can see that this is coming from the left. Why? Because it's not only the right-wing people who are against that, it's every single person who are against indoctrinate children who are against that. There are people from the left, people from the right, people from the middle. This is not a political side. This is people who wants to protect children. And also the people who are against that are not anti-LGBTQ2S plus whatever the alphabet that's coming from after. This is the people. Some of the people are in the community. Some of the people who have family that is on the community. The only thing that they are against it is what is going on with the children. Don't touch the children.
Yeah.
And you will not have the backlash that we see. That's it.
I'm glad you said that, because that's what's so concerning about this. Look what is happening into response to peaceful public protests on this issue. You're right. It's not being met by conversation. It's being vilified as hate, to the point that unions are coming together. And that brings me to my next point, which is, well, what does that look like? So recently I've covered two stories. They were connected to the drag camp that took place. I know, I can't believe it. A drag camp for children as young as 7 years old took place at the Carousel Theatre in Granville Island. Now, through a couple of the reports I've done, I've let the public know that one of the unions you see at the front of this union, IATSE 118, which is at the top of this article we just read from, they basically told the public that there had been threats of violence towards the theater, which of course has some of their members. And for that reason, threats of violence, threats to property. And for that reason, they needed to summon people to come out and defend people. I don't know if we have a clip of how aggressive the people who showed up versus the people who came to protest. It was really bad. They were calling me a Nazi. Never in my life did I ever expect to be called a Nazi. I don't even think they can see me, because the union's coming ahead with these, I would call them lies. And the reason why I call them lies is because I contacted the Vancouver Police Department. Now, if your staff is being threatened with violence, the first thing you do is contact the Vancouver Police, right? If there's an event coming and you're getting threats of violence, the Vancouver Police had zero of these such threats. And do we have a clip of I think this is a clip where I'm throwing back how the mainstream media parroted their claims on this, but I did a follow-up clip because not only were the small group of people, by the way, I would say there was about 7 people, 2 were members of the LGBTQ community that came to protest. I'm just going to stop. This is a gentleman just walking by the union's mob rainbow clad, and they're stopping him, harassing him. I speak to him there. But I followed up because 2 of the people who attended the small protests against there, while they were protesting there, despite parking apart from each other, they ended up having both of their tire walls slashed, and they weren't parked near each other. So they believe they were targeted as well by that counter protest that was organized by the union. So is this what we're going to expect now every time there's a protest near a, drag event for children?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The car. It's I think it's a tactic, to just like perforating like car wheels. Like I saw that too in Montreal. Like it's like a tactic to just like target cars. And I don't know why, because if you are really for the environment, you know that the wheel of a car, it's really bad to make it another new one on the car, because it's so bad because what you do with the wheel is like caoutchouc, like what you're doing with it, like, And you know that this is the more like environmental like action you can take.
Yeah. You know what? We can only have so many tire swings at a park. You're right. But you're right. It's gotten to the point that in Vancouver, there was a story where during a freedom convoy recently, there were people in masks with the rainbow stuff, and they threw paint over a convoy that was driving at a legal rate, and damaged a couple of vehicles quite a lot. One had close to 100,000 in damage on her huge truck, but it's a safety concern because if you get the paint in the wrong spot and they're swerving. So anyways, it's concerning to see these unions coming out saying, these trigger words like attacks when really they just mean peaceful protests and emails and petitions, and then using that as an excuse. It is concerning. We'll see where this goes. But apparently this is Canada-wide that they are mobilizing this. And how terrifying for the members. If you're an LGBTQ member and your union is telling you you're this unsafe, if you believe that, that's quite frightening.
But my point is like the people who are for the drag queen and all these nonsense ideology, we see that they are coming from the extreme far left. The people who most of the time are aggressive, who doesn't want to talk, who cannot talk or cannot express what they really feel or anything. They use the emotion and they use violence and aggressivity. And when we see the people who are against it, who just want to protect the people, or just the normal population, like the normal like parents and normal people who just want the best for their children and just want the children to be kids and just being teach the normal topic in school. But the thing is, like, the society give the far left so much space, and they give them like the almost like the rights to do it, and the rights to use violence, and the rights to aggress people in the street and everything, because the society think that the place is more for them than just the normal population. This is my biggest concern on what is going on. Why are we giving them as much space as that when just the normal population doesn't have any almost?
Well, if you're watching this discussion and you want to help the public really know what's going on, I know Alexa, myself, many at Rebel News, we actually get our boots on the ground to show the public what's happening. And those reports typically end up at a special website we have called stopclassroomgrooming.com. It started with the classroom. Now it's gone to other public institutes. So if you ever want to just catch up on what's been happening across Canada and even other places in the world and take action, you can sign our petition, which we will be sending off to all of the ministers of education. Again, that is stopclassroomgrooming.com. But speaking of these empty labels that cause division amongst people who got along just great, before these tactics were just being used, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh accuses, we have a video of him just going so quickly to the homophobia label. Let's watch this if we can play that.
I am getting him now, but almost can't hear because of the background noise on site.
Your homophobia is very inappropriate. It's very inappropriate. You're driving away, and causing an accident. Some of that money.
Right away, it might have been. I don't know how to paraphrase what was said, and I'm assuming not everybody heard what was said. It was, an angry word towards Jagmeet and Trudeau and what they might do behind closed doors intimately. And right away, you have Jagmeet Singh saying, if you're homophobic, like, for all he knows, that man yelling could have been gay himself. Like, he just jumps right to it. What do you think about that video?
Yeah, I find that so funny because he called Jagmeet Singh a piece of and instead of saying, like, like, oh, you're racist, like using that card, is using you're homophobic. I am just like, what makes you think that this guy who called you a piece of shit is actually like homophobic? Like I just say like, oh, he just took like the wrong card from his pocket because I think he made a mistake.
I think and again, I think it's so quiet that it's hard to hear. It's because he says that Jagmeet and Trudeau are, in bed together. Basically, he said something like that. But still, that doesn't make you homophobic because you believe they have more than a bromance going on. You know what I mean? So, but you're right. He just had that card. I don't even think the card's in the pocket. I think it's like stuck on some type of attachment that's already out, so he could just pull it. And they seem to just go with whatever is in the most divisive thing at the time to divide the people so you can put them into the Marxist bubble tribes that you want them to have. I don't know. But it's interesting to see him get heckled. I don't think he gets heckled quite as much. I've seen it a couple of times before, but nothing as often as Prime Minister Trudeau.
But it doesn't go out as much as Mr. Trudeau. Like Mr. Trudeau is actually traveling all across Canada, taking photo up with people and going to all Pride event that is going on, and probably will be in Montreal soon because we will have ours in Montreal. So probably I will see him there. It would be funny if I can see him there. But the thing is, Jagmeet Singh, we don't see anything that's going on with him. He's just not traveling across Canada for now, it seems. But it's probably but if he was more out there, he probably have been like more echo than that.
Maybe. And you're right. I've been, his office is actually very near to where I live. I've been there a few times. Not only do I never see him in the office, surprise, surprise, they've really used COVID to their advantage 3 years later, but I don't even see staff in there either. But you reminded me, you said Trudeau going around posing for photo ops. Maybe if the great team behind the scenes can find that photo of him on the public transit, we'll go to an ad. Maybe you guys will have time. I think it's on my Twitter if you want to look at it, but I've had so much fun laughing at that. So why don't we go to an ad and see if you guys can come up with that photo, and we'll get to more of the Daily Roundup after that.
How in the world could such a small group of people with limited resources change world history? But in fact, that's happening, and it's the power of the truth. The truth is like kryptonite.
Healthcare isn't in some sense working very well. Foster Colson is thinking about this. He's got a new company, an online healthcare platform called the Wellness Company.
Telehealth company called the Wellness Company.
The Wellness Company.
The most popular product is the detoxification supplement that features nattokinase. Nattokinase is the only enzyme that we're aware of right now that dissolves the spike protein. Spike protein is loaded in the body with the COVID-19 infection and definitely with the vaccines. We've been completely accurate on the spread of the virus, early treatment, on the deficiencies in hospital care, and now the deaths that are occurring after vaccination. This is a human outrage, and it's occurring at the end of a hypodermic needle. Isn't it interesting? Natural substances combating this man-made disaster.
In a world plagued by conformity, where truth is distorted, freedom is a distant memory, and Big Brother is always watching. One man, Winston Smith, looks to break through his bleak existence. Introducing the all-new Rebel Illustrated Classics edition of George Orwell's iconic book, 1984. Now, more than ever, in the age of lockdowns, 15-minute cities, and World Economic Forum globalism, everyone must read 1984. Uncover the hidden depths of this literary classic with our exclusive illustrated edition that brings Orwell's haunting vision to life, reborn with a foreword by Ezra Levant and 30 captivating new illustrations by artist Paul Ravoche.
You see that Orwell is not only explaining what might come, but in my opinion, what's already here, even back when he wrote it in 1949, but much more so as we see revealed today, particularly with the last 3 years.
Join the rebellion against conformity. Get your hands on the Rebel Illustrated Classics edition of 1984, now available at buy1984.com.
That is such a good book. I got it physically, the new copy physically in my house. So very good to read it. And the illustrations are great, but it really is creepy. It really is creepy when you're rereading it in 2023 and you're going, my goodness, like, how did he nail it so good? He just messed up. I'm calling it 1984, but I think is it buy1984.com where you can get your own copy of that. I forget.
Is it him that was right, or it's people who read the book who actually inspire themselves from the book? This is the question.
The combination, that's for sure. Did you guys find that photo? I just think it's such a good laugh if you found it, of Trudeau pretending to be just like us. And this guy, there it is. And I'm glad you found this one because Glenda M here just has the best commentary or the best caption. She said, apparently Trudeau was spotted by his personal photographer riding the TTC, surrounded by his security detail and hand-picked riders. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, because some people wrote, just that Trudeau was spotted in the TTC in Toronto, with all these things, security in the back of the photographer in the front, taking picture of him and doing a photo up again.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. So funny. Now, actually speaking to who normally is the host of the Daily Roundup, in case you're just coming in, David Menzies, who we said is on a special mission. We have a little teaser for you about a special report he has been doing, covering like no other news outlet you're seeing in the country, tackling the issue of biological men coming in and dominating female sports. You may already have seen some of it. It's the great rugby footage of a player named Ash. Let's show a teaser of what's coming next with that before we continue on with the next news.
Last weekend, three women's rugby players had to be removed from a game and treated for injuries from hits sustained by a trans woman.
That just bowled him over. It literally couldn't be easier for this guy.
Notice the reaction that he gets from the other teammates of Ash, desperately trying to protect Ash from having to face the public.
This is the trans woman this string is about. That guy looks like he could be the ref.
What the is he doing? And the second one is, why are these women defending him?
There is something in the water there that is making people go insane in this town.
I really wish that the female players who are upset about this would start standing up to this insanity.
What gets me, and I've just realized this, okay, the fathers that are okay with their daughters competing against men, and that video very clearly shows that the men in attendance are all okay with this.
Yeah, they're going to equity and tolerance our mothers, daughters, and sisters right into a bunch of wheelchairs or an early grave.
I understand Mr. Davis was the hardest hitting player on the men's team last year, sir. How is he being allowed to play against biological females?
You're disgusting. Get out of my face.
Stay away from me, man.
I heard what you were saying before. I think the idea is that you're not being tolerant of other people's beliefs. You think everyone has to believe what you believe. I think we should just be tolerant.
Ladies, what do you think about Mr. Davis injuring biological females? Any thoughts on that? Ash, is it true that you were voted the hardest hitter on the male team that you played for last year? You're the ref. You should be calling this.
I will be calling a very safe game, sir. Thank you.
Keep walking if you don't have good vibes.
Okay, then.
Good vibes, yeah.
Oh, really? Including a male player injuring female players. That's okay with you?
What's wrong with that?
You don't have to talk to the players.
Please don't touch me. Are you with the local media? This guy, Ash Davis, 3 women on the Stony Creek Camels team had to be carted off the field. How is that safe? He's a biological male.
You know what? That's not true.
Mr. Davis, why are you doing this? You were voted the hardest hitter on the male team last year. Doesn't that make things even more lethal for the biological females that you're injuring?
Oh, okay. I can't answer that question right now.
Oh, is that right? I see these ladies telling you not to talk. You're taking orders from these rugby players, sir.
Well, I'm just here to watch a rugby game.
So why is this being tolerated, ma'am?
Because they're not a male.
Oh, it's a they. How about yourself, sir? Do you agree with a biological male playing against biological females? Looks like you're giggling. Weird world, isn't it, sir?
It's a sticky situation, that's for sure.
Have a good weekend. Oh, you don't... Really?
Oh my gosh. Now, I just want to say something. I mean, there's so much to say about that. But I want to remind people, because first of all, this is the team that has the heaviest hitter on a male team on their team. Of course, that's an advantage for them. But, this is what is so harmful about collectivism. Flashback maybe 5 years, maybe even sooner. Everybody would say, yeah, it's wrong for a biological man who is the heaviest hitter on the rugby team to then go, full force on women. But because it is not the collective thing people believe they're supposed to say, you only have the voices speaking out on camera that are for, or at least acting as though they're for it. You have people hiding behind cameras or not answering. And I just want to say that Menzies is also bringing a voice to many of the people behind the scenes who are saying, thank you guys so much for covering this issue, rugby players included. And of course, there are statements Joe Warmington put out in his article about this, where some of the women who had been tackled said things like they felt like they had been hit by a train by Ash. So I just want to point that out, because it's hard to show that side because they're so scared of speaking out.
Mm-hmm. And in the teaser, you heard like the man saying like, you just show that you're not tolerant. But where do we draw the line of tolerance? Where we say like enough is enough, this is going too far? Because at one point, if we let that happening, where is going to be the next? Like where the woman will like lose their place? Like when we look at that, women have worked hard. Of course, they are disadvantaged by their physical body, because we know our bones, about our vascularity, everything is different than a man. It's more vulnerable, and it's because we are the one who give birth to child. It is why our complexity of our body is different. But if we now let biological men who doesn't even like look like a woman,
not even trying,
not even trying. This is the worst part. But taking our sport, taking our pageant, taking our like place in the society, where is the feminist in this? Because I remember in a time that I was a little bit younger, not so far ago. We had some feminists that was talking about the position of the woman, the salary of the woman, and the opportunity of the woman that was less than the men. But now we let the man taking the place of a woman, and now it's okay?
Yeah, exactly. You're totally right. Now they're calling, the true feminists transphobic, or I think they call them TERFs, trans exclusionary females or something like that. The ones who want the safe place in the rape shelters and in the prisons and in the sports, they're somehow vilified. But you're right. Bring feminism back. I can't believe I'm saying it, but there has to be, some sanity restored. There has to be a middle ground here. I just can't believe it. And the men that are supporting this, it's quite shocking to me how far this is all going. It's so obvious. Everybody knows that there is an issue with the heaviest hitter. And one thing I'm confused about, and that woman clarified, this is a they, and I read that Ash identifies as a non-binary person. So if you don't identify as a woman, why are you on the women's team anyways? I'm very confused about that.
And what disturbed me the most is like, is a biological male that are now a trans woman who is also a they, but is also lesbian.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about that. Now we're going to take a breath. We're going to take a breather. We're going to step away from the trans insanity. Of course, I don't mean everybody in that community. I mean the ones that are acting crazy. We have here some bad news. All news in Canada will be removed from Facebook, Instagram within weeks. Okay, that's from Meta, who's been sort of strong armed by our regime to fall into line to prop up and pay for Canadian news. So they're saying, no, we're not having that. We told you we weren't going to do that. And this is what they're going to do. Before I get into the article, I just want to say, I don't think this type of stuff is going anywhere. So if you have not already gone to rebelnews.com and given us your information, don't expect to find our news at some point. We have no control over these things like this. Of course, it helps when the public comes together and does their thing. But please, if you haven't already, go to rebelnews.com. There is a way to give us your email. It's good if you can give us your address too, because then we know what type of news you're probably more interested in. If you're in BC, we're more likely to email you the BC stories. If we have a contact form, do it. But just usually when you go there for the first time, it pops up and asks you for your information. Please go on another screen, fill that out and do that. It's so important that we are able to keep in touch with you guys. We're already demonetized and we're not on the TV. And now we have stuff like this. So, let's go into this article here. Let me just find some of it. I think I'll read here. I got my contacts on. It's always harder to read here. But this is CTV News. Yeah, it says, so Meta, Facebook, that's Instagram, said Tuesday that within a few weeks, it will remove news for all Canadian users of its popular Facebook and Instagram platforms. In order to provide clarity to the millions of Canadians and businesses who use our platforms, we are announcing today that we have begun the process of ending news availability permanently in Canada. That means Canadians will no longer be able to share or view news articles and other content posted by publishers and broadcasters, including international outlets. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting to me about this is who's being called news. I mean, we would know we're news on Rebel News, so we're going to be lumped in there. But I've seen also like the National Telegraph, one of their, I think it's their editors, put on Twitter is like, oh, so we're getting censored too. Now we're news. When censorship out, now we're recognized. When censorship isn't in, we're called bloggers, insane bloggers or something like that. But what do you make of all this?
But there is two things. First of all, I have the impression that there is a big war between media and social media platform. It started with Twitter, with the fact that they were like writing that they were funded by government, and after that they say, oh, we are quitting Twitter because they say that we are not unbiased because we receive money from the government, and they had like a big war there. And afterwards it came to Facebook and Meta and Instagram about the fact that they didn't receive the money that they should receive in exchange of the fact that they are publishing their news. This isn't a thing. The second thing is like now in the society, most of the people doesn't have the TV or the cable like anymore because now they get their news on internet. So if it's not Twitter, it would be Instagram, it would be Facebook. So a lot of people doesn't have subscription anymore. But I think I'm wondering, and I want your opinion on that. Now the media are probably really happy because a lot of people will say, oh, but if I cannot get my news on internet, I will subscribe back to the news on TV. And now they will have the subscription of new people who will want to have access to news as easy as it was on internet. Do you think that it's actually beneficial for them to have like platform to ban all news?
Well, I think you're right. I think subscriptions will go out, but I think in the long run, if this continues on long, which I don't think it will, but hopefully it won't, I think it would be harmful. I know at Rebel News, we give out our content for free, so everybody can be educated on the other side of the story. And it's just a small amount of people that actually keep Rebel News alive. It's just a very small percentage of the people who consume all the journalism that we bring to the public that actually go to rebelnews.com and hit that donate button, or go to rebelnewsstore.com and buy our merch. It's a very small percentage. And so if we were never able to get out our information, it becomes very hard. That very small backbone who does subscribe or does support your news becomes smaller and smaller, because they just don't get reminded of the work that you put into it. So I think overall it's a hit. But I understand where Meta is coming from, although I'm not happy that people are not going to find our content. I understand that if they did fall in line with this and started, just meeting the demands of the Trudeau government to, pay more for what they're not paying for other countries, where would that stop? I see this as a way of the Trudeau government trying to sort of give their choice media the money they want, the money they're asking for, the more bailout money than they already get, without taking it from the tax dollars, because the Trudeau government cannot ignore the fact that the leader of the opposition in every rally gets the loudest cheers when he discusses defunding the CBC. And so I think all of that is connected.
But it also, like, if Facebook is doing that for Canada, it needs to do it for every single country in the world. Where that stop? Like, if Facebook is complying to Canada demand, they will do bankruptcy at one point, like, to just like give money to people, and if they're doing that to media, they would do that to influencer or to other people who have like a big reach on social, like on YouTube or in the platform in internet. So at one point, is giving money to every single person who publish some content?
Yeah. Where is the line? I think, and I haven't read into this for a couple of weeks, so I don't know if anything's changed. I know that the Liberal government's their party was still going to be paying to advertise. I know in BC, our premier said, we're pulling our ads from Facebook. But again, same thing, their party would still be advertising. So basically, it seems as though for as long as this goes on, all we're going to see is sort of campaign type advertisements, which is just nauseating, coming out of our government on social media anyways.
Not surprised.
Yeah. We have a couple of live chats we can break in case that none of you know what that is. That means you can join in the show. A couple of people have done so by going to Rumble or Odyssey and donating $5 US or more with a comment that we read. So Fraser McBurney is one of those people who that small group of people who continue to bring in donations to keep our reports going strong, and donates $5 US. Says, recently I took a drive in the country, and what did I see? From horizon to horizon windmills, half of them not working. Asking myself, why? Who did this to our vistas? The Liberal left. That's who. So yeah, you're right. I've seen lots of those. I'm sure you have a lot to say about that, or something to say about that, Olivia. But yeah, those huge, ginormous windmills, what's going on with them?
I don't even know, like, what is a windmill?
Okay. You know what? I'm mixing you up with Tamara, because Tamara, just a little, like, I don't know, little board of facts. She knows a lot about that stuff. So, but yes, I have seen them. I can tell you this, I don't think they're doing good for the environment. I know that much.
Probably not.
And then we have Full Send Conservative donates $5 US as well. Thank you very much. Says, this is a good time to remember feminism. So this is linked to probably David Menzies' teaser we showed there about the rugby. This is a good time to remember feminism. has killed far more people than the atomic bomb. It's perhaps the most destructive force in human history. Trans ideology, its offshoot, is competing for the title. Well, interesting take there. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you.
I'm trying. Oh, okay. I
see
now
that?
I know what is a windmill. Okay, we call it like something really different. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like a lot of them is not working, and a lot of them like it's not performance since there is no like much wind sometimes. And I would say like some places in Quebec we have like a ton of them. And as I say, I'm not really sure because that they are really great there for the environment. Like the good one is like building dam. The dam, of course, is not that good for environment, but at the end of the day, when we look at the capacity of producing energy with a single dam, this is what we call the most of like clean energy. Like at the end of the day, when you look at the benefits and like the bad effect on the environment. But no, the windmill is just not I'm not for it at all. And did you see that the transportation also? It's like like they build somewhere, they transport it for long distance by truck and multiple trucks.
No,
It's
I
good.
didn't see that. But what do you call it? What do you call a windmill then in French?
Éolien.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're kind of changing tunes here a little bit, and I'm going to let you. You've been tackling this horrific part of Canada's now our identity. This story here about Canadians being denied life-saving transplants that you've covered. Yeah. Do you want to tackle that, Alexa, or do you want me to go through it?
So there is multiple people in Canada, not in just in Canada, because we just saw that in Australia too. There is a teenager being refused to receive a transplant of organ because of over a medical choice for not receiving the shot of COVID-19. There is a father of 5, Garnet Harper, who unfortunately passed away. I think it was last May, because it was waiting for a kidney surgery, and unfortunately it got refused over his medical choice of not receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. I will say that every single person have certain reason, as Joanie Dupuis, who did some adverse effect of other shot before. It's why she decided to not receiving it until she heard that she will be removed from the transplant donor waiting list. And now her condition is going down, and I'm afraid and I'm really scared that she's going to die because the medical system have just failed her. A lot of people, and I think this is so discriminatory. And Pastor Henry Hildebrand did a video on Instagram, on Twitter, and he was expressing where this going to stop, where this discrimination will stop. Is it going to go after some other people? So it's why he's calling the people, if you are a donor, you should remove your name for not being part of this discriminatory movement where we actually stop people to survive because of medical choice. And it's why it's calling for people to protest in that way, to just remove their name from this donor list.
You know, it's such a hard one, because on the one hand, you're like, you know, obviously you want people to live. If you go on the donors list, you want them to be able to use your kidney or whatever it is. But what do you do? What type of stand should we take when people are being coerced to the point, they're being coerced to the grave over, I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. Right now, we're still on YouTube. join us on Rumble and Odyssey where we can freely talk. So, but most of you know, even if you're jabbed, you've caught COVID, you know what's going on. And still they're playing this madness where this is happening. You said a father of 5. Let that sink in. A father of 5 is gone over this wicked practice that history will look back upon in horror. And we have the opportunity to now do something. And so I guess that's what Pastor Hildebrand's coming up with. But it should be more pastors. Why just him? Why aren't people screaming from the mountaintops about this issue that's still going on 3 years later? And I don't even think it's consistent if I haven't been covering it as much as you have. But, I know that other countries aren't doing it. So did they have a different COVID? And I think even within our own provinces, we have differences on what type of transplant you can get, whether or not you've had the COVID jab or not. So it's really, really sick. If I think we have a URL, I'm not remembering the URL, but maybe if our great team behind the scenes, Efron and Olivia, can put it up on the screen so people can follow this story. I know Sheila that you mentioned, I forget her last name, out of Alberta, is fighting this legally. So
Sheila,
hopefully,
Sheila Annette Lewis.
Thank you. Sheila Annette Lewis, who is dying right now because of these coercive restrictions, is trying to fight this legally. So please do share that. Do you know the URL?
It's organnotcoercion.ca, I think.
I don't know if you said it, but Olivia chimed in, organsnotcoercion.ca. So if you could share that far and wide, because I don't think a lot of Canadians, the ones that are just kind of going on with their daily lives and really believe maybe Canada has gotten back to some form of normalcy. I don't think a lot of them even know this is happening. So very important story to share for as long as we can on social media. And after that, you might have to go to private messages to share things, I guess.
And the thing is, and this message is for all people who receive 2 jab. After talking with Joanie said to me that when the ethic team went into your case, she discovered that she needs 3 doses. Not 1, not 2, it's 3. And so the people who got 2 or get injured after 1.
Yeah.
And you need at one point this surgery. Think about it one time. That you will face the same situation. And this is really important that people are aware of that. Where that's going to stop. After 3 will be 4. After 4 it will be 5. When?
Wow. Yeah, that's something there are a lot of unvaccinated people. And so you need 3. I did not know that. That is shocking. Very disturbing. On a brighter note, we have a victory coming out for a man who was charged in Windsor. I'm just pulling it up. So our great friends at the Democracy Fund charity that have taken on so many cases, thanks to a lot of Rebel News viewers donated there. We did a lot of campaign crowdfunding for them, and this is a victory. So criminal charges were withdrawn against a Windsor resident charged with mischief and disobeying court order during the Freedom Convoy protest. So again, just to point out, this is criminal charges. So that's huge to have it dropped. This isn't just your typical fines that we saw. The Democracy Fund lawyers have secured an unqualified withdrawal for a Windsor man who was criminally charged in connection with the Freedom Convoy protests that took place in Windsor. Eric Lehman was charged with mischief and disobeying a court order when he retained TDF to defend him against these charges in May. A 2-day trial took place, and the Crown withdrew the charges today. So that would have been yesterday. So that it was done. Alan Honor, TDF's litigation director and lead counsel on this matter, says that the Crown withdrew the charges after the defense disclosed their theory that Mr. Lehman was on the sidewalk, as well as video evidence supporting that theory. This is a case where the Crown and defense worked together to achieve the right result. So that is some good news. Yeah, we don't always cover good news, so it's nice to see, and it's sad that this has gone on this long for poor Eric Lehman, but I'm sure he's very happy with it and very happy for all those who donated to crowdfund for his lawyers.
Yeah, because without all of you guys, this is not possible, you know. Because of all your donation and your support, we are able to remove some criminal charges from people and help people across Canada, help them to fight against this injustice. And I'm happy that everybody who did donate, that get a result that we are happy to share with you. And if you want to continue to contribute, because we are still battling with so many other cases, you can still donate on our website and help our legal support.
Yeah, and I think that is still called fightvaccinepassports.com. I think that's where the donations go, because again, this is ongoing. It was relative then. So if you go to fightvaccinepassports.com, and for those of you who are just finding Rebel News in the recent months, you might not know what started off with a goal of helping 100 people fight their COVID-19 lockdown fines turned into helping through crowdfunding donations through our generous viewers, taking on over 2,000 cases. We can't take them all on, and neither can the TDF, but over 2,000 cases related to things like vaccine passports, or, you know, celebrating your child's birthday in the backyard during lockdowns, and a whole bunch of nonsense. So thank you for all who are a part of that fight that is still ongoing. And if you have a few bucks, a coffee you want to, you know, hold off on and instead donate, go to fightvaccinepassports.com. All right. Oh, we have, I'm just checking to see if we have another live chat right now. Oh, a live chat.
Oh,
we do. Because we're almost running out here. So, all right. So Nancy CO donates $10. Thank you very much, Nancy. Says, hey girls, just wanted to let you know that there was a sighting of Jagmeet Singh here in St. John's today at the Royal Regatta at Quidi Vidi Lake. LOL. My next door neighbors posted a pic with him. Oh, funny. How funny is that?
Oh, that's funny.
They were happy. Is that a good thing or not? It's always fun reading the comments when people are like, look who I saw today. And then I had this one friend, he posted a picture of himself and Trudeau, and then like everybody came at him so hard, like his own friends and family on Facebook. And he's like, geez, like, calm down, people. He's like, I don't even follow politics. I didn't know it was that bad. So yeah, your poor neighbors, I guess. Funis donates $5. Thank you very much. And so this is about the news that we talked about at the beginning. It's official. Justin and Sophie Trudeau are no longer a thing right now. They are separating. Sophie caught him in her closet trying on those white woman's pants he wore for Pride, grabbed a high heel from the shelf and smacked him in the forehead. So that's a
good theory.
Yeah, to whatever's going on. There's something that man is hiding on the middle of his forehead with a band-aid. Sophie, your comment reminds me of Clue, when it's like, you know, Colonel Mustard did this in the room with this. I love it. It's a very good theory. You may have won the game of what the heck happened to Trudeau's forehead. Bauden Nielsen donates $5. Thank you. Says, every time I tune into Rebel News, it's always good reporting. Thank you from Sweden.
Oh, Sweden. I love Sweden.
God.
People are so nice there.
You've been there, I guess.
I met so many Swedish people when I was traveling. Always good people, always good vibe. And so always sweet and helpful. And so for me, it's just like, really, like, they remember a little bit like Canadian people.
Oh, really?
But
nice.
maybe like I need to specify which kind of Canadian people. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Which Canadian people? Well, one thing I do know about Sweden that I love, and I'm not sure if it's still like this, but I know when I was doing a lot of activism against human trafficking, I know they're very big on having no tolerance for that. Their children are not for sale. So much respect there for that. And then we have a comment here from Lisa Prouse. Says sending much love. You know Lisa? Oh. Says sending much love and respect from Lisa Prouse to two courageous and smart ladies. Thanks for the love, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. It's been a while. We need to catch up soon. I really love her. She's amazing.
Oh, how do you know her?
Oh, I met her through Rebel, obviously, and I met her back. I think it was in Montreal one time. Yeah.
The amount of love like that we get from people, you know, thank you so much. It goes a long ways, and the encouragement and the emails, it's much appreciated. But oh my goodness, look at the time. It's that time. We rolled right through everything. We powered through. So thanks for everybody who's still tuning in, for being a part. Thank you for the behind the scenes team. None of this is possible without you, the great Efron Monsanto and Olivia. And thank you to the lovely Alexa for being on here as well.
Thank you to you for being there and to actually take the lead and talk like in front of everybody. I think I feel like better if it's you, but it's always nice. It's been such a while that we didn't like speak face to face.
Yeah,
and I really enjoy. Yeah, you're the best, Drea.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been nice catching up with you. And Alexa's right. Neither of us usually take the lead on the live stream. So hopefully you guys made it through all right. Till next time, I think David Menzies says something like, stay sane, stay safe.
Today, Pastor Hildebrand is expressing his deep concern about the medical coercion faced by vulnerable people.
I think it is an extremely tragic thing when a wife is left behind with 5 children, and we find out what the reason was, and we see that it was his personal choice, it was his bodily autonomy, God-given freedom, whatever you want to call it. Or he made a choice, and based on that choice,